I feel really bad telling you about this movie because this movie was actually kind of fucking great. And now I'm gonna like spoil all of it for you.
Alright, it happens.
I'll try to leave like some stuff out. So originally I was gonna be seeing this with Brian, but at like the last minute something came up and I went to it by myself, which now feels like really weird. No one's gonna believe me that this like new Shyamalan movie's really good. I saw it by myself. You know, I could just be lying and fucking with people. No, like it's one easily his best since Unbreakable.
Like that.
By far. Oh god, Unbreakable's so fucking good.
I'm so disappointed that it didn't get more traction. I could have seen another one of those movies.
They tried to at one point.
They wanted to make a trilogy.
Yeah.
And
I wish they would have. This movie, he figured out a formula, that worked for him. And honestly, I'm glad. I mean, okay, like a couple weeks ago, like Brian and I said, like, it's Shyamalan. So if it's good, awesome. And if it's bad, awesome.
You're gonna laugh out of it, yeah.
Yeah, if it's bad, if there's what good or bad, if there's something he can do, he can make an entertaining movie. Whether or not the movie is entertaining for the reason it was intended to be is up for discussion on some of those. But whenever he puts one out, like, okay, yeah, there's that part of me like, if this is bad, this will probably be really, really funny and really cheesy. But then I am also like, I want this one to work for him, you know? Like, I think Sixth Sense still holds up. I love Unbreakable. Signs is fine.
And then we start going down.
And then you start getting into like the village, like, okay. And even after that, I'm like, Lady in the Water, that's got good actors in it. That might be good. It's dumb as hell.
He should, you know what? His twist in a movie should be that he makes a fucking straightforward movie. Can we ever have that? Just he makes a normal film.
Well, here's the thing though, like
that isn't The Last Airbender because
no, that's like Last Airbender comes out, you're like, all right, he's working with other material. Right. Maybe this will be okay. Wow, no. The Happening, his first R-rated movie. It's got Wahlberg in it. Maybe it'll be all right.
That movie, man.
It's kind of great, but I mean,
it is, but a completely opposite reason that you should think is great.
So this one, the formula that there's a critic who said that he's made a lot of movies that are unintentionally very funny, and this is the first one that feels like you're actually laughing along with him, and that's very true. That's a really good way to put it, because this movie, it's simultaneously really funny and really chilling, and it snaps back and forth between the two of them well, like crazy well, and it never makes it feel like you're watching two different movies that are trying to mesh together and it doesn't work. It doesn't feel like that. Like, the comedy works and the horror part of it really does too. And it's so well written that when it snaps from being funny to being downright chilling, it works. And kind of because of some of the comedy, the more chilling parts are really effective, but done so much better than an easy example to go to is Last House on the Left, when you have a rape scene and then a stupid scene on a chicken coop truck. It doesn't, it works a lot better than that. Yeah. He's found some, I don't know if he looked at some of his other movies and was like, okay, the parts in these other movies that people are unintentionally finding humorous, what if I tried being, maybe self-aware about it, right, or maybe making parts like that really work for comedy while still doing horror stuff. But he made it work so much so that, like, if he does stuff like that, makes like funny, goofy, and weird movies, like, he could turn out something that's like something like Bad Taste or Meet the Feebles or stuff like that. Like, this movie totally fucking worked for me. And it's even the found footage in, because it's a found footage movie. Okay. And that, it crazy works well. One, I completely buy why this is being filmed. I totally do. They made me believe that every second why this is being filmed. Okay. And also why it looks like because sometimes you see these found footage movies, and the person will be running around with like a mini DV cam, but it's like the quality of like fucking, you know, a TV show.
Like a Red, yeah.
Yeah, this I even buy why this movie looks like it does, and that's actually, it's really part of the humor of this movie. It's because it's about two kids. The girl is like maybe early teens, and the kid is Alexander from Alexander and the Terrible World, No Good Very Bad Day.
Gotcha.
So he's like maybe like 10 or something. So they go to visit their grandparents who they've never met, and they're deciding to make a documentary about it because the grandparents have been estranged from the mom, and so, but the little girl is like fixated with movie making. Like she really wants to drain like a bunch of emotional material out of this. Like they get a lot of humor out of that. Like when it kind of feels like he's going after stuff in a found footage movie that like the character may have said but off camera, and he's putting it in the movie. So like when the little kid is standing in front of the swing, she says stuff like, "No, don't touch it. I want it to move organically." And she's like, and when weird things are happening and the kid is like, "Look, maybe we should set up like a hidden camera downstairs just to catch these two old people doing crazy shit." And the girl is like, "No, I want my cinema to be I want my cinema to be authentic.
I want cinema verite."
Yeah, she's this really pretentious ass character. And so like you see in a lot of documentaries and found footage movies, like the girl will be, maybe even the person who's making it is sitting there and like questions are being asked and the person starts crying. In this, the girl is sitting in front of the camera, but she said, the little kid's like, "Are you sure you want me to ask you these questions?" And the girl's like, "Yes, ask me all those questions." And then he does, and it's all tearjerker questions. She starts like crying and stuff like that. Like that works. And also the boy in the movie is like, in his free time, he's a freestyle rapper.
Oh my god.
So he like freestyle raps through the movie. Like the ending credits is him like freestyle rapping like the events of the movie, and it's kind of great. Like it totally works. And he has this bit in the movie where he's trying to tone down on saying curse words, so instead of cursing, he says like female pop stars. Like 40-Year-Old Virgin, where he screams out Kelly Clarkson.
Nice.
You know? But and so there is something immediately odd about these old people as soon as they show up. Like they feel like they're like robots. Like, and other people in the movie are kind of like this too. There's always this kind of awesome, uneasy feeling about everybody in the movie. Like when they're on the train, and like the conductor or the what do you call the person who works on the train that kind of walks through, and why am I blanking on that? I take the train so much. Why am I blanking on that
like
guy?
The usher?
Yeah. He's walking through and sees the camera's like, "Are you recording? You know, I used to want to be an actor. Dost thou?" And he starts going into like Shakespeare, and then another guy later on shows up and does the same thing. And so I'm like, what is going on here? Like, is it just
weird
coincidence these two people did that? Is this some kind of weird reality show thing that's going on in this movie?
Nice.
So the grandparents are instantly weird. There's just something off about them, but at first it's like, okay, maybe they're just kind of like crazy old people or whatever.
No, they've earned that. You know, that old people can get away with the shit.
There's talks about that in the movie. There is one thing I do gotta say. I loved this. I really loved this movie, but I do want to say this. Like, if you have like an older relative or someone close to you who's older, who is maybe going through like dementia. or like maybe some schizophrenia or something right now, maybe put off seeing this for a little while, because I'm not lying. M. Night Shyamalan pretty much made a spoof of dementia.
Oh no.
But I mean, it's just kind of a scary movie. It totally works. It plays off like people's fear. I've run into people who have a fear of old people, who get nervous when they go to like nursing homes, and I've known people who have that fear.
Yeah, because it's for some people it's a fear of hey, these people are older, they're
Yeah.
going to die, eventually that's going to be me. I can understand that very introspective type thing that creates that fear, but yeah, I agree. I've seen people who have...
absolutely.
You know, they get uncomfortable around that kind of a situation.
This movie plays on that. This movie plays on that hardcore. Because the first, like, real kind of scare in this movie is when the kids they're playing hide and seek underneath the porch. And it's a big house, so it's a big porch, a big area underneath it. And they're playing hide and seek. And all of the sudden, you see just like the old woman in the back, just like kind of like leaping like a frog, like right towards them. It's like that weird scene in like fucking The Sentinel with the old person going at the fucking camera and shit. Like, I even like I jumped quite a bit in this movie, honestly. I did at that. I'm like, what the fuck is happening? That's really like kind of the first like real kind of scare in this. And the kids are like, what the hell is going on? But like, and then the kid gets out of the fucking porch. He reads out and he trips and hits his knee and just goes, Sarah McLachlan. So it's funny. I mean, it's intentionally funny. He gives you these scares in the movie. That classic 1989 song.
Yeah, right.
He gives you these scares in the movie, but like puts in these laughs afterwards that actually really work. And that one did, because there's a laugh with him saying that, and then just a really uneasy feeling when the grandma comes out of there and says, that was fun. I'm gonna go make us some chicken. And then turns around, and when she turns around, her ass is showing. Like, her skirt's hiked up and her ass is showing. Like, and so she, like, wow. And then, like, the little things, like the part in the preview where the old woman, who so deserves an Oscar nomination for this, because she is outstanding. The old woman is standing there and says to the girl, like, would you mind getting in the oven and cleaning it for me? Fuck, like, things like that. It's simultaneously, you smile, but there's also a chill going down your spine. Like, there's a lot of shit like that in the movie. Like, when she goes to check on the grandpa and he's got his mouth around a shotgun. He's like, oh, I'm just cleaning it. And then they see her, like, naked, clawing at the door. There's some old lady ass in this movie.
Wow.
And then the kid's like, well, I'm blind now. Shit. And what is some other... okay, so yeah, like, a lot of stuff like that happens in it, and then just parts that even made me go like, ooh, because the grandpa is doing weird stuff in like this shack and they don't know what he's doing, and they're like, what's going on over there? They're yelling towards him. They're like, pop, pop, and he looks over and just walks away. So later on, the kid goes in there and looks in there, and it's just a stack of used diapers, like flies swarming around him and shit like that. And I'm like, what is that? What I think it is? And then, so that's kind of weird and creepy. And then it cuts to the next scene, and the grandma is having a one-on-one with, like, the daughter talking about grandpa's horrible IBS. It's fantastic. And the last half hour of this movie, there is kind of a twist, but I don't know how much it's supposed to be any kind of, like, gotcha twist.
Right.
Like, you know, like Sixth Sense or, like, The Village and stuff like that. I don't think that... It's
more of a straight... One of those things where, like, okay, I can see that coming, as opposed to, where the fuck is that from?
Oh, yeah. It's where the kind of twist that I'm talking about, I pretty much figured was going to be the case. But they're not doing... They're really not trying to cover it up that much. It's not misdirection
as much as the other ones. It's more straightforward.
It's more straightforward. Like, this is probably where this movie is going. And then even when it does get there, it is a creepy feeling, because to be in that situation would be fucking horrifying. I won't tell you what it is because you haven't seen it, but when you're watching it, maybe even from me describing it, you might be able to tell what it is. So, the last half hour of it, when the kids are just trying to get out of this house, because there's, like, a hanging body in the backyard, and like they know they need to fucking leave this house, but the grandparents aren't letting them leave. Like the grandpa's like, well, it's our last night together, it's family game night, so they're playing Yahtzee. They're the most horrifying game of the Yahtzee you've ever seen, because like the grandma is just shoving sugar cookies in her mouth left or right, and then just looks right at the camera and screams out Yahtzee, just powder everywhere, and it's so horrifying. Like, and so the grandpa like ends up like locking the girl in there with the grandma, and she's crawling around like a fucking frog and shit. And then grandpa is with the son, and the son, and this is important, the son is a germaphobe. So the grandpa has the kid there, and the grandpa is of course being weird and creepy and menacing, and then just the grandpa like shits himself at the Yahtzee table, and then like takes the diaper off and just smashes it in the kid's face. This used shitty diaper. Like, fuck me, man.
Yeah.
Like, this is some brutal shit. Jesus. Oh, even I am not a germaphobe, like, at all. I'm not. No. Even I was in the theater like fuck me. No. And the movie, like the good Shyamalan movies, the movie really does kind of have a message to it at the end. Which is, it actually is a movie about learning to kind of let stuff go and like forgive people before it's too late.
Yeah.
Because the kids are estranged from their father, and then by the end they're having like a one-on-one with their mom, and throughout the movie they're kind of bad-mouthing their dad quite a bit. And so by the end of it, there's actually this pretty touching moment, like between the kids and their mom, and even like maybe them kind of trying to like think of their dad in slightly more forgiving terms and stuff like that. But it's like this kids found footage movie mixed in with like Don't Look in the Basement, and like it does, while this is it is a great movie, it does feel like a Shyamalan movie. I mean, it does. It feels like the best parts of his movies that were really good. Even with the found footage angle, you can tell that he directed it, and you can tell that he wrote it. It just feels like if he's actually in on the joke this time, and it actually is funny, and it actually is really pretty scary. Like, even if The Happening was intended to be a comedy, this is a far better movie than The Happening. All those little things that didn't work about his movies before, he actually makes it work this time. I mean, there's a couple things about it where you're kind of like, I don't think anyone would do that. Like, after the kids know that, like, the grandparents are fucked up, she does the, like, it's the second time she does this in the movie, when she does the, will you clean the oven for me? And then she does again and goes in there. I'm like, I don't know anyone who would do that.
No. I'd be like, I got an extra long brush. I can brush it from out here.
Yeah, how about you fuck off, Grandma? Shit.
Those things are self-cleaning. Don't give me that bullshit.
It was a pretty decent-sized audience. Like, I know it's a really low-budget movie. Like, Blumhouse put it out, and Shyamalan and Jason Blum produced it, so it's probably got a really low budget.
Right.
Which is good. I mean, it's a kind of movie like this doesn't need a budget bigger than the one that it probably had, and also with that, it can probably make a decent enough profit.
Right.
There was a decent crowd there, and really everyone there was having a really good time. Like, watching a couple of old people be fucking chilling and crazy, and it was fun. It was probably some of the most fun I've had at the movies this year. And no one's gonna believe me, because I saw it by myself. They're gonna think I'm fucking with them. It is certified fresh, last time I looked, which I don't think has happened since Signs, unless maybe The Village? I don't know. That didn't get very good reviews when it came out.
No.
You think you're gonna go see this?
I might. I mean, if I've got time,
It's totally fucking worth it.
If it's still running in mid-October, I may go running. watch it, but
totally worth it. It's like 90 minutes. It's a solid 90 minutes. Like it goes by at a really good pace. It's well made. It doesn't feel like the found footage is here just as a stupid gimmick, just as an excuse not to use cinematography.
right.
It doesn't feel like that at all. Like, it really kind of has a lot of jokes about found footage and things like that. So I really highly recommend this fucking movie. Like, some of the employees here who know that we review movies online were asking me about it, and I'm like, this is actually really fucking good. And the girl was like, I don't know, man, old people are weird. I'm like, oh, you definitely want to see this.
Yeah. You think old people are weird now, just wait.
So wait till you see an old man shove a shitty diaper into a 10-year-old kid's face. And then later on see the kid, like, freestyle rapping about it.
Oh, shit.
You got Straight Outta Compton, I got The Visit.
Yeah,
practically the same movie.
Exactly.
I had to look up, after you guys' review, I had to look up what By Felicia meant.
Oh my god. Yes, by fucking y'all.
I didn't know what that meant. When you guys were talking about it, I thought, like, I don't know, maybe it was the lyrics to one of their songs or something like that. Friday reference, right?
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
It's been too long since I've seen Friday.
Yeah. See, that's a movie I can watch
Friday?
a lot and not get tired of it.
Did you go see it when they re-released it?
No, something was going on that day. Because it was April 20th, because it was 420.
Yeah.
But something was going on that day to where I didn't get to. But I mean, I can just pop it in anytime I want. So I was kind of like, I'm not super annoyed if I don't get to see it.
I must have been out of town. I must have been out of town when that was out. There was some reason why I wasn't there. Because I think it was one that we were planning, and like I might have, like some of those Fathom events, it might have just fallen on a time where I was just out of the city.
Because like, I mean, like, that's not a necessary movie I would just like. Oh yeah, I'm gonna spend full ticket price to see that movie.
Nah, dude. Friday after next though. Let's get the real Ice Cube classics back.
Right.
Triple X, State of the Union.
Oh my god.
Are we there yet?
Aren't they filming the next Triple X movie?
Yeah,
currently?
But it's Diesel.
But it's with Diesel back, yeah.
I missed that fucking bro-y ass Bond movie. I want all of that in here. Douche! You know, it's really badass when he's going around shooting people with a stun gun the whole time.
That's a fucking GTO, not an Aston Martin, you prick.
Yeah, it's been too long since we've had Xander Cage back on screen.
Oh, Jesus.
But no, like, if The Visit is one of the better movies I've seen recently. Like, of movies that are playing right now. There are some solid, like, this movie is fucking great. The Gift was fucking great. Mission Impossible is still playing. That's worth seeing. I've already forgotten about 90 Minutes in Heaven. It only took less than 90 minutes to forget.
Right.
What's next? Okay, next week is... I know one of them is The Green Inferno.
Oh, Jesus.
Well, the reason why I know that is because I'm going to be in Detroit next week or the week after.
I thought it was the 25th was the Inferno.
You're right. It's the week after because I'm going to be in Detroit when that's out.
So 11th, so the 18th?
I forget what's coming out next week. I'll know when I get home
Something
and
like that.
Look and see. But I was asking Violet what movies she wanted to go see, and she's like, I'm fine with anything. I just don't like a lot of gore. And I saw what was coming out, and I'm like, oh, well, you are in luck. A little movie called The Green Inferno. If you liked Cannibal Holocaust.
Oh, shit.
She's like, I don't know if I want to see that. I'm like, don't worry. I'll go see it and just describe it to you like we're doing now. So then, there was meat hooks put through her tits.
Oh, man.
With a pole shoved up her ass, right through the mouth. Just describe other cannibal movies.
Nice.
Then the cannibal started fucking a pig.
Oh, good God.
Yeah, my final thoughts on The Visit. Go see it. You got any final thoughts on The Visit?
It sounds entertaining as fuck, so...
So good, man. So good. See you next week.
Adios.